Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I am going to discuss about the remaining part of media resources, that is Transcoder, Conference Bridge, and the music on hold things. So we'll discuss about these one by one in detail. So let's start with the transcoder. So what's the main purpose of this transcoder actually? So what transcoder can do? Transcoder can convert one stream to the another stream. That is, if you are running a G711 codec, but your next party, like the destination party, is using a G729, and you are not able to communicate with each other due to this codec mismatch. So in that case, CUCM will invoke your transcoder, and then your transcoder will convert that G711 stream to G729, like from A party to B party, and it will convert from G729 to G711. That is coming from G729 to the G711. That is from party B to party A. So what it will do, it converts an input stream from one codec into an output stream that uses a different codec. The same, that is this the first one, the one codec, that is we can say it is using G711, and the different codec, that is just an example, it is using a G729. Okay, then we have this transcoder. Like transcoder is not a software actually. This is not a software media resource. This is a hardware only media resource. Okay, so this transcoder is also capable of performing same functionality as a media termination point. So like what your media termination point can do, it can also do the conversion, but it's not like it can convert from G711 to 29 and all other things. But this transcoder can do the work of MTP as well. So in case where transcoder functionality as well as or the MTP functionality both are needed, so we don't need to invoke both, like transcoder as well as MTP. We will just invoke one thing, that is transcoder. If both are needed, like transcoder as well as MTP, we will just invoke one, that is transcoder, because transcoder can do the work of MTP. Okay. And if if there is a need for MTP functionality only, if MTP functionality is only required, then CUCM will allocate either a transcoder or a MTP. That depends on the CUCM. But if we can say if hardware transcoder is already there, then we don't need hardware MTP, because it can do the work of MTP. So if we are configuring transcoder, there is no need to configure the hardware MTP as well. So for your CUCM, the hardware MTP is transcoder actually, because if once you are adding your this transcoder into your CUCM, it will just give you an option of Cisco IUS enhanced media termination point. It will not give like this one. It will not give a transcoder option. The transcoder type would be Cisco IUS enhanced media termination point. Okay, as your CUCM is only like giving an option for the MTP as only software MTP. It will not give any hardware MTP. It will just like for CUCM, hardware MTP is just the transcoder, nothing else. So the same thing, transcoder is a hardware only, as we can see that. It also supports trans rating. As we can see, what does this trans rating means? Trans rating, which converts two streams with the same codec but use a different packet size. So those are the same codecs, but they are using a different packet size. That is your trans rating. So this is also a functionality as well. So there are two types of things, like that is the first one is traditional transcoding we have, and another one is universal transcoding. We will discuss about this one by one. So as you can see, what is traditional transcoding? Traditional transcoding means if you have a G711 codec and you want to convert it to any other codec, that means that is a traditional transcoding. And what does this universal transcoding means? Saying any two non-G711 codecs is called universal transcoding. Like in the traditional transcoding, we can say, yeah, this example, it is using G711 and it is going to convert it to G729. This is your traditional transcoding. And what is universal transcoding? It means if one party is using G722 and another party is using G729, and they want to negotiate it between the codecs, they will invoke the transcoder, and that will be a universal transcoding. As it is written, any two non G711 codecs is called universal transcoding. As you can see in this example, this is your IP phone, this is your IP phone A, and if he is going to make a call, this call will go to the CUCM first, and then CUCM will reach out to your cube or gateway which is there. So at that point of time, CUCM will see like if this is if it is sending a G711 codec, but the other party needs a G729. At that point of time, what CUCM will do, CUCM will invoke a transcoder, and then CUCM and then your RTP stream will establish between your IP phone and transcode, and the transcode and the other party. Like in this case, in this example, as it is written, it is showing the cube. So RTP stream will not establish directly between IP phone and cube. IP stream will establish between this IP phone and transcoder and cube. Okay. So let's discuss about these things, like how it can invoke the transcoder and what all are the messages getting interchanged. So as you can see, this IP phone is making a call and it is going to a subscriber, and this subscriber is sending the call to this queue. But if there is a codec mismatch, then it will just invoke this transcoder in between. So let's see. So now this IP phone is sending a SIP invite with media capabilities. What does it mean, invite with media capabilities? It means this IP phone is sending its SDP messages. That is that is an early offer. So this IP phone is telling what codec I am using right now. Like I have I just have these codecs G711, 2922. I don't have any other codec. So IP phone is telling you first in the initial invite, I have these codecs and I am going to use these codecs now. Now it depends on the other party what all are the codecs they are using and they want to negotiate it. So as just say this invite sends a G711 codec, and now this unified CM subscriber send a SIP invite to this cube. And this cube is saying this cube is sent the response in 200 OK, and it contains with media capabilities, it contains his media capabilities. So like if cube is using only G729, so this cube will send in this 200 OK message, this G729 codec in its media capabilities, so that it will reach out to this subscriber and it will see like this IP phone is using G711, but the cube is using G729. So we are not able to communicate, as it is showing codec mismatch. So if there is a codec mismatch, what unified CM will do, it will invoke this transcoder in this code. So as you can see, it will reach out to the transcoder and it will open the logical channel. So as soon as it reaches out to the transcode, and transcoder will check, okay, I have the sessions which like I can work on that, and these sessions we can configure it on our gateway. Once we are configuring the codec, then we can configure the maximum number of sessions. So as soon as it sends this request to the transcoder, it will just open the channel and it will just acknowledge. This transcoder will acknowledge. And then your CUCM will say, start the media transmission between these two parties, like phone to transcode and transcoder to queue. So it will say start media transmission and it will just acknowledge it. And then what CUCM will do, CUCM will tell this transcoder address to the IP phone. Like invite was there, so this unified CM will send a 200 OK as a final response. So it will send 200 OK with the transcoder address. So as soon as IP phone checks, okay, there's a transcoder address, so it will reach out to this. It will just he will just acknowledge it with that request, and then your unified CM will send the same thing, like this acknowledgement with the transcoder address to the other party, that is your queue, because he got the response from the IP phone as an acknowledgement, and then unified CM will reach out to your cube with the transcoder address so that they can establish a RTP stream. So as soon as IP phone is having an address of transcoder address, he will establish a RTP stream, this thing, between IP phone and the transcoder. And once this acknowledgement with transcoder addresses reaches out to the cube, cube will also start a media transmission, media between transcoder and cube. So in this way, your call will establish, and your like your transcoder is doing everything. Transcoder is changing from G711 to G729, and transcoder is also changing from G729 to G711 codec. So this is how we can invoke a transcoder and how the call will happen. There is one more thing. When there is a codec mismatch, it is not like the phone A is not able to reach out to phone B. Like phone B will ring at that point of time. But as soon as phone B picks up the call and it will see, okay, there is a codec mismatch, then it will just drop the call, or maybe there is one-way audio and there is no audio. So these things can happen if there is a codec mismatch. Codec mismatch, that means codec mismatch and transcoder is not there, and but the ring will be there on that phone. As soon as someone picks up that call, it will just, there will be just a no audio, one-way audio, or maybe it will drop the call as well. These are the things can happen. Okay, let's check about the transcoder configuration on the gateway. So as you can see, we have two things, that is universal transcoder and we have traditional transcoding as well. So we can say what is universal transcoder as it is written. Yeah, same. We discussed transcoding between any two G711 codecs. That means a universal transcoding. So what's the main configuration we need to do for this transcoder configuration on gateway? So just log into your router and you just need to enable the DSP services first. As you can see, conft, and this you need to, this is the just main thing, like you are just entering into the configuration and just enable this SCCP, and then it is showing SCCP operational state is up already. Why this SCCP? Because all your not a transcoder, all your media resources works only on SCCP. Then we have this service voice card 0, and then this is your voice card. You are configuring DSP services, DSP farm on your voice card. That means you need to configure this voice card to support transcoding and conferencing. So this command will show like it is just telling I am configuring this voice card for transcoding. Like in this case, we are doing the transcoding, but we will use the same command if we are doing the conferencing as well. So this command is mainly used to support transcoding as well as conferencing, or we can say if we are configuring it for an MTP as well. After that, what you need to do, you need to mention the CCM IP, a CCM group, you need to create it, and the priority. As you can see, SCCP CCM, this is your call manager IP. SCCP CCM group 1, you just created this group 1, and you need to associate this call manager 1 with a priority. That is priority 1 here. Here you can see the main transcoder configuration. After doing that, what you need to do, just put this command to DSP farm profile 1 transcode. So in this case, we are configuring a traditional transcoder as of now. So we will not use a universal term here. So this normal DSP farm profile 1 transcode means you are just configuring a normal transcoding, not a universal one. It's just a traditional one. This is a profile number. You can, like, this is a random one. You can choose anything. So what are the steps you need to do? Like create a DSP farm profile. This is a DSP farm profile 1 transcode. Then you need to add the codecs that you wanted to add it. Like you wanted to add G722, G711 MULO, ALO, G729 AR8, G729 ABR8. So these are the codecs which you just mentioned under this transcoder configuration. So as soon as there is a codec mismatch, this transcoder will be able to convert streams between these codecs. Like if other party needs a G711 MULO, ALO, AR8, ABR8, anything. And then we need to put the command that is select how many sessions you wanted to support. That is this one, maximum sessions 2. So it will invoke, like it will invoke the two transcoders at simultaneously at one point of time. I can say 2 sessions of this transcoder. And then we need to associate the application to SCCP protocol. Yeah, associate application SCCP, as these media resources will work only on SCCP things. Then you just need to put the command no shut. And after that, we can associate this profile to the SCCP CCM group 1, which we just created in the previous slide. Okay. And how you can associate it, you can just go to the configuration. You can put SCCP CCM group 1. And once you are under this configuration SCCP CCM, you can associate your profile which you created. Associate profile 1 register trans. The same one here you can say associate this profile 1 transcode, associate profile 1 register transcode. Now what you need to do on the CUCM, you just need to go to your call manager, CM administration media resources transcoder, and once you open this media resources, you will be able to see the option for this transcoder, but the transcoder type would be different. Transcoder type will not show anything related to the transcoder. It will show this thing, Cisco iOS enhanced media termination point. So this is your hardware transcoder. In the description, we can mention hardware transcoder. And in the device name, this is the main thing. In the device name, you should mention the same name like this one, this transcode, which you just created, this profile, TSP farm profile 1 transcode. So this name should be same on your CUCM as well. Only then this media resource will get registered. Only then it will show registered with CUCM. So this thing should be same on your CUCM. This device name should be same on CUCM as well as on the gate. I hope it's clear to you what's the main configuration we need to do on the gateway as well as on the CUCM. Then we have next thing, that is universal transcoder. So here you can see we just need to do one change, that is this one. You can just put this random number DSP farm profile and transcode universal. You need to mention the transcode universal thing here. So once you put universal, it means it is doing the universal transcoding, and the rest of the things are same. You can put it you can put all the codecs, maximum sessions, associate application SCCP, and after this you can associate this profile with your CCM group, which we did in this, like SCCP CCM group 1, and after that this one. After that you can just associate the profile, associate profile 3 register transcode universal. You can do this thing on your router. So after once you associate the application, associate the profile with your CCM group, in the CUCM configuration, you need to put now as a transcoder as a universal transcoder. It will not show a normal one. You need to choose the universal transcoder. And after that, transcoder type would be the same, Cisco enhanced MTP, but this device name should be different from the previous one. Like this device name should be same on CUCM as well as on gateway. Now you need to choose the same name, that is universal here as well as universal here. If these names are not same, then this your universal transcoder on CUCM will not show register like this. It is showing registered with Cisco Unified Communication Manager. It will not show as a registered on your CUCM if this device name on the CUCM as well as on the gateway is same. It will not show register. It will show register only in one case, once these device names are same. I hope the things are clear between the normal transcoder as well as the universal transcoder. Okay, after that, let's discuss about the conference bridge. So conference bridge is also the same thing, like it will just mix the audio streams from all the participants in the conference. Like this, you can see in your example. So first thing, this media resource is a hardware as well as software. So we can configure this media resource as a hardware media resource as well as software media resource. And how we can configure the software media resource? We just need to activate this service, Cisco IP voice media streaming application service. So once this service is activated on your subscriber or your publisher, then your software conference bridge, you can use it. There is one thing that is the main thing, software based conference bridge supports only the conference is using single audio codec, that is G711, or maybe we can say the wideband codec. So Cisco software-based conference bridge supports only conferences using single codec, that is G711. As you can see it here, if all the participants in the conference are using G711 MULO, then software-based media resources are used. And if all participants use a codec other than G711 MULO, then hardware-based media resources are used. Okay, and we can say by default, there is like a maximum sessions we can do uh, in the conference bridge. I can say it's a 48. That is in the service parameter. If we can see, it will show recommended as a 48 sessions, but we can do it as a 256 maximum in the service parameters for the software conference bridge. So for the hardware conference bridge, actually we have this, like we are using the DSP media resource, that is depends on the PVDM card what we are using in our hardware. It depends on that, like how many conferences we can do simultaneously. It can work simultaneously, like it can do 8, 16, 32, 48, 64. That depends particularly on that particular hardware. So maximum could be, I can say, allows up to 64 conferences with 8 conference participants in each conference. 8 in each conference. Okay, so let's discuss about this thing. What it's saying, it collects the audio from all participants but doesn't send back to the originating device. It is just collecting the audio and converting it. So suppose it is collecting the stream from this phone one. So this conference bit should not send the same thing to phone 1. It should send it to the phone 2 or phone 3 only if phone 1 is speaking something. Same case, if phone 2 is speaking something, this conference bit should send that to phone 1 and phone 3 only. Same in case of phone 3 as well. So let's say how this conference bridge is invoked. So let's suppose if phone 1 is calling to phone 3 right now, let's just say an example of phone 2. So if phone 1 is calling to phone 2 at this point of time, so they are just communicating with each other. Maybe they are negotiating the codecs as well. So maybe they are using the same codecs, G711, I can say, or maybe they are using G729 as well. So if they are using the same codecs, like both parties are using G711 codecs and they are able to communicate with each other, phone 1 and phone 2. And let's say if now phone 2 wants to communicate with phone 3 and he wants to add him in a conference. So phone 2 will make a call to the phone 3. So at that point of time, we know phone 2 is using G711 and maybe phone 3 is using just G729. Or maybe if he's using the same G711 as well, then also it works. But let's suppose first he is using G711 and he wants to just add him in a conference. So as soon as he presses the conference, it will invoke the conference bridge. What this conference bridge will do, so he will see phone 2 and phone 3, same codecs, G711. They are able to like communicate with each other. And as soon as he presses the conference, then it will just make a conference between phone 1, phone 2, and phone 3. So at that point of time, earlier, the RTP stream was establishing between phone 1 and phone 2. And once phone 2 wants to call the phone 3, then RTP stream will establish between phone 2 and phone 3. But as soon as they are in conference, then your RTP stream will be between phone 1 and conference bridge, phone 2 and conference bridge, and phone 3 and conference bridge. Okay, and they will be able to communicate with each other. So at this point, we were just discussing about the same codecs. They have G711, G711, G711. Let's suppose phone 1 and phone 2 have the same codecs, but phone 3 is using G729 codecs. And at this point of time, phone 1 is making a conference to the phone 3. Phone 1 wants to add this phone 3 in this call. And let's say phone 1 is able to negotiate this codec, that is G729, but phone 2 doesn't have this media capabilities. So at that point of time, once the conference bridge is invoked after pressing the conference, so conference bridge is also capable to negotiate the codecs as well. So it can do the work of transcoding as well. We will see in the configuration, even I will show you what all we can configure it on the gateway once we are configuring the conference bridge, so that we don't need to invoke the transcoder as well if the other party is using a different codec. So at this point of time, phone 3 is using G729. So once there is a connection between phone 1, phone 2, phone 3 and the conference bridge, so at that point of time, conference bridge will do the transcoding work as well. Like phone 1 is able to communicate with phone 3, but phone 2 is not able to communicate with phone 3 due to codec mismatch. So conference bridge will take G711 from phone 2 and will send G729 to phone 3. Same way, conference bridge will take G729 from phone 3 and it will send it to phone 2 as a G711. Okay, this is how our conference bridge will work. Let's see what all are the configuration we can do on our conference bridge. So as you can see, the same things, you need to do the same things, like you need to create the profile, you need to create the CCM groups, we need to create the profile on all the things. Here, the main thing, that is DSP farm profile to conference. So this is a random number again. This is a profile and this is the conference. It means you are configuring this configuration for the conference bridge, DSP farm to conference. And here you can see it is written over there. These all are the codecs which this conference bridge can negotiate. G722, G711 MULO, ALO, G729 AR8, ABR8, R8, BR8. So these all are the codecs which this conference bridge can negotiate with the other parties as well. Then we have this thing, that is maximum sessions too, like how many active sessions we can like use in a conference bridge simultaneously, maximum sessions too. And associate application SCCP, associate this with the SCCP because all your media resources will work only on SCCP. Then we have this thing, that is conference on your CUCM, how you can add your hardware conference. So as you can see, in the conference bridge type, you need to choose Cisco IOS enhanced conference bridge. That means this is your hardware conference. So conference bridge name, you can see it here as a conference. So this name should be same like in your gateway configuration. Conference. Description, you can put it hardware conference. As you know, this is, you are putting it for the Cisco IOS enhanced conference bridge, and you are adding this conference bridge in your CUCM. All other things are the same, like device pool location, you can choose it, or you can just put it default one as well. So I hope these things are clear to you, like all these conference bridge, transcoder, conference bridge configuration on gateway, conference bridge configuration on CUCM, transcoder configuration on CUCM, transcoder configuration on gateway as well. Let's check it out. What all are the things we did? We did configuration, and let's see how we can check all these configurations, all this configuration on gateway. So here you can see it is saying SCCP local, SCCP CCM. This is your CUCM IP identifier, priority, and the version. SCCP because it works only on SCCP. As you can see, it is written over here SCCP CCM group 1, associate CCM 1, priority 1. And now you associated these three profiles like the normal transcode, universal transcode, and the conference. As you can see, we associated these three profiles with this CCM group 1 which we created. So associate profile 1 register transcode, associate profile 2 register conference, associate profile 3 register universal. As you can see, you already did all these configurations previously, and as we can see it now, it is just showing all these configuration on one page, that is this one. DSP farm profile 1, that is rated with the transcode. Transcode, it is showing all these codecs which you use, maximum sessions, associated application. In same way, it is showing it for this universal transcode as well as for the conference bridge as well. Okay, let's discuss about the few more commands, what we can do mainly. Here, these are the command summary actually of what all commands we used or we can use maybe. So here, like first we need to enable DSPs on the router, that is an SCCP, voice card 0, and the DSP services DSP farm. What does it means? We are just configuring this voice card to support transcoding and conferencing with the help of this command. Now what you need to do, you need to bind your CCM group with the interface or the loopback pointing to CUC. So your interface is like this local fast Ethernet 01. What you need to do, you need to enter your CUCM identifier and the priority and this SSCP that works only on the, like your media resources works only on the SSCP. After that, what you need to do, you need to associate the profile with the SSCP CCM group. You need to create the SSCM groups as well. So SSCP CCM group 1, you can bind this fast Ethernet 0/1 and associate this CCM 1 and priority 1. After that, what you need to do, associate the profiles, associate profile 1 register. And here you need to use whether it's a transcoder, whether it's a conference bridge, whether it's a universal transcoding, or if you are using an MTP as well. So you can use it here. Associate profile 1 register, transcode, or conference bridge, or MTP, or a universal transcoding, like this way. That where did you on the last we did you just associate the profile. And now how you can create it, create the hardware resources name, and then we can enable the codec. So how we can create that name, we can use this command dsp farm profile 1, and we can choose transcoder, conference, or MTP, anyone. And these all are the codec lists which you wanted to add it. Then we have this command that is codec pass through and the maximum sessions, how many simultaneous sessions, associate application SSCP. That means you are associating this application as a SSCP application. And then you can just put the command as no shut. So no shut means it will just activate all these things. So how you can see all these things on your gateway, you can just choose this command, show DSP farm all. All means it will show all your transcoder, conference, everything, and it will show whether it's up, down, or what. As you can see, we just put this command, show DSP farm all. It is saying profile ID and the service. That means what is the service? First, it is showing transcoding. And what's the status? This one, resource provider, this one. And what's the status? That is up. Status is up. Second, profile ID is 3. That is universal transcoding. And what's the status? Status is showing up. And next, you can see profile ID was 2 is rated with the conference bridge. And what's the status? Status is up. And if you configured it for MTP as well, then profile ID 4. Profile ID, this thing, when you were configuring and it was showing DSP farm profile 1, DSP services 1, like these things. At that point of time, you just put the when I said you just need to choose the random thing, choose the random profile. Let me show it to you as well, like this one, DSP farm profile 1. This should be a random one. Like we used 1 for transcoder, 2 for transcoder, 3 for conference, or all other things. As you can see, we use this profile ID 1 for normal transcoding, that is traditional one, 3 for the universal transcoding, 2 for the conferencing, and 4 for the MTP. If you are configuring hardware MTP as well, then you can just put DSP farm profile 4 MTP, and status is showing up as well in this case. After that, we have these commands, that is the verification commands, how we can verify all other things. If you want to just check what all are the running configurations, you can choose this command, show running configuration, show CCM SCCP CCM group. We can put group number if you want to just check particular thing. Show DSP farm profile, like if you want to just check the farm profile for transcoder only, you can just put show DSP farm profile 1, show DSP farm profile 2 or 3 or 4, anything. And if you want to see all the profiles 1, 2, 3, 4, random number like 5, 10, 20, 30, you can just put this command, show DSP farm all. Then we have these few commands as well, show SCCP connection, media resource status, up, not, show DSP farm, DSP all will show again the same things, show DSP farm profile if you want to see, show voice DSP, and the show DSP farm all. So these all are the main commands which you will use for the verification, like what you configured, whether it is right or not, whether you configured it correctly or not. Maybe you forgot to add anything, maybe you forgot to associate the profile, maybe you forgot to add the codecs as well. So there are so many things which we can forget actually once we are like configuring all these things. So I hope you really enjoyed this one. You at least you learned something from this conference bridge and the transcoder. And in our next lecture, we will discuss about this music on hold media resource. It's a very long one actually. So we will discuss about this media resource in our next lecture. And I hope you really like this video. And if you really like it, please like, share, and subscribe it so that you can see it, or you can press the bell icon as well so that you will receive the notifications of all my upcoming videos as well. Thank you.